Ever wonder how humans went from chasing mammoths to building cities?
It's really a mind-blowing journey, isn't it? I mean, we're talking millions of years
Hmm.
of evolution and innovation all condensed into, well, a single story.
Exactly. And today, we're diving deep into those notes you sent me on early human history. We're really focusing on the innovations that, kind of shape the human experience as we know it.
Get ready for some serious aha moments as we unpack the Neolithic Revolution and basically the very dawn of civilization itself.
Okay, but let's start with the basics. Your notes open with this really clear distinction between invention and innovation. What's the difference?
Yeah, it's a really subtle but important distinction. Invention, you see, is about creating something entirely new, like the wheel, for example. It's the very first time that object exists.
Makes sense.
But innovation, on the other hand, well, innovation is about taking something existing and making it better,
Yeah.
or even using it in a new way.
So you invent the wheel and then you put it on a chariot. That's innovation in action.
Precisely, it's about applying existing knowledge, but in new contexts to solve problems or improve life as they knew it, or even just making that existing knowledge better,
Yeah.
or making it more useful in a new way.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we actually assess the impact of an innovation? I mean, it's easy to say a car is important, but how do we actually measure the true significance of something like that?
That's where these concepts of magnitude, scope, and duration come in. Historians use these three concepts to determine the significance of historical events. Let's take Carl Benz's first automobile ride back in 1886.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember reading about that in your notes.
It was a seemingly small event at the time, but it had a massive magnitude. I mean, the invention of the car completely revolutionized transportation, didn't it?
Absolutely.
And initially, the scope of its impact was, well, it was limited, but eventually it spanned the globe.
It's crazy to think that something that started so small could have such a huge impact.
Right. And the duration, well, we're still driving cars today, aren't we? The significance of an event is often measured by how long its impact continues to be felt. That's how we can really, better understand the significance of those seemingly small innovations.
That's a great point. Makes you really think about the long-term impact of even the smallest innovations. But you're talking about something that happened in 1886. We're talking about early humans here. How do we even know anything about them before writing even existed?
Well, it's like piecing together a puzzle with missing pieces. Archaeologists rely on those clues left behind, like bones and artifacts. They're like little clues that help them understand the lives of these early humans.
You're talking about things like that 5,000-year-old spear point in your notes?
Yeah.
What can we learn from something like that?
Quite a bit, actually. The material of the spear point, that tells us about the technology available at the time, and the craftsmanship that reveals the skill level of the people who made it, and the design. The design might even tell us something about their hunting strategies, or even the environment they lived in.
So it's not just a spear point. It's like a window into the past.
Exactly.
Wow. And I'm really curious to learn more about those early humans who actually made these tools. Your notes mention a whole bunch of Homo australopithecines, habilis erectus.
Right. Think of them as our distant relatives on this long evolutionary tree. Australopithecines, like the famous Lucy, were among the first to walk upright.
Wow.
Homo habilis, well, they earned their nickname handyman by crafting those first stone tools.
Yeah, I like it.
And Homo erectus, well, they took it a step further, mastering fire and becoming the first to migrate out of Africa. These were huge milestones in human development.
Walking upright, using tools, controlling fire. Talk about innovation. But what about Neanderthals? I mean, they get a bad rap in popular culture where they just, less advanced.
Neanderthals. They've gotten a bad rap over the years. They were actually quite sophisticated. They were skilled hunters. They used complex tools, and there's even evidence of ritual burials, which suggests complex thought. It's a common misconception that they were our direct ancestors. Recent DNA discovery shows something even more intriguing.
Okay, what's that?
Neanderthals. Well, they actually interbred with Homo sapiens, and we still carry their DNA today.
Wait, so I might be part Neanderthal. This is getting really interesting.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got all these different hominid groups. Tools are getting better, but then something something huge happens, the Neolithic Revolution, and it's not just about farming, right?
Exactly. The Neolithic Revolution was a complete societal transformation.
Imagine a world where everyone lived as hunter-gatherers, constantly on the move.
Right.
And then around 10,000 BCE, thanks in part to a warming climate, humans started, cultivating crops and domesticating animals.
Yeah, and that shift, what we call the Neolithic Revolution, had massive ripple effects. I mean, it completely reshaped human society.
And I'm guessing slash and burn agriculture had something to do with it. I came across that term in my notes.
Yeah, partly. Slash and burn, so that's clearing land by cutting and burning vegetation that allowed early farmers to, well, clear land for crops, obviously. It was effective, but not very sustainable in the long run.
Right.
The real game changer was really the domestication of animals. Suddenly, humans had this reliable source of food and labor, which led to larger settlements and food surpluses, obviously.
Which leads to the birth of villages and eventually civilizations, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible how one innovation leads to another like that. But what exactly makes a civilization?
That's a great question. Historians generally define a civilization by 5 characteristics: advanced cities, specialized workers, complex institutions, record-keeping, and advanced technology.
So not just a bunch of huts and farms then?
Not anymore. Take Sumer, for example, one of the earliest known civilizations. They had these bustling cities like Ur. They had skilled craftspeople, a system of writing, and really impressive architectural achievements like ziggurats, really impressive temples.
All thanks to the stability and surplus provided by agriculture. It's mind-blowing.
It is. And to give you a more vivid picture of early village life, let's talk about Saddlehuk.
Ah, yes, that one caught my eye in your notes. A bustling prehistoric metropolis.
Well, metropolis might be pushing it, but Çatalhöyük, dating back to 7500 BCE, it offers us this fascinating glimpse into early settled life. You see, their homes were built close together, almost like honeycombs, and they decorated their walls with murals. Really early forms of art and storytelling.
Wow!
Imagine that, walking down a narrow passageway, and on either side of you are these colorful murals depicting scenes of hunting or daily life.
Wow, that would have been incredible to see.
It's a remarkable example of how agriculture really transformed human societies. But this whole time we've been talking about innovation, it makes you wonder, what did innovation actually look like for these early humans? Were they sitting around, brainstorming new spear designs?
Yeah, it's easy to picture innovation as this linear process with people in labs and things like that. But that obviously wasn't the case back then.
Exactly. It was much more organic. Think about the challenges these early humans faced: finding food, shelter, protecting themselves from predators. Innovation often arose from the need to solve these very real life or death problems.
Yeah, so a new tool wasn't just a cool gadget. It was a solution to a problem. A way to improve their lives and their chances of survival.
Exactly. Take the development of agriculture, for example. It wasn't some sudden eureka moment. It likely evolved over generations of observation and experimentation.
Yeah.
Maybe they noticed that seeds scattered in a certain spot yielded plants the following season, or perhaps they observed animals behaving differently after eating certain plants.
Yeah.
These small observations passed down through generations could have led to, the gradual development of farming techniques.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. Innovation as this slow burn, building upon the knowledge and experiences of past generations, almost like a relay race, passing the baton of knowledge down through time.
And don't forget the role of collaboration in all of this. Early humans, they lived in these small interconnected groups. Sharing knowledge and skills would have been crucial for their survival.
Right, of course.
Imagine one group figuring out a better way to make fire or hunt a particular animal. That knowledge wouldn't stay secret for long. It would spread through trade, intermarriage, or simply through encounters between different groups.
So innovation wasn't just about some individual brilliance. It was a collective effort, a product of shared knowledge and experience.
Precisely. And this collaborative spirit, it likely played a crucial role in the development of more complex technologies and social structures. That the transition from these small nomadic bands to larger settled villages, well, that wouldn't have been possible without cooperation and the sharing of ideas.
It's amazing how these early humans, without any of the technology or communication tools that we have today, were able to achieve, so much.
It really speaks volumes about the power of human connection and collaboration. But let's get back to the Neolithic Revolution and the rise of civilizations for a second. I mean, it's clear that this shift from hunting and gathering to agriculture was a major turning point in human history. But was it all positive? Were there any downsides to this massive societal shift?
That's a good question. It seems like such a monumental change. There had to be some challenges along the way.
Absolutely. While the Neolithic Revolution brought about incredible advancements, it also came with its own set of challenges and trade-offs. Remember how we talked about historians using magnitude, scope, and duration to assess the significance of events?
Yeah.
Well, the Neolithic Revolution scores high on all three, but not always in a positive light.
Okay, so you're saying there was a downside to this whole civilization thing. Tell me more.
Well, for starters, while agriculture provided a more stable food supply, it also meant that humans were now, they were tied to a particular location. No more, picking up and moving to a new hunting ground when resources dwindled. This dependence on a single food source could be risky, especially if crops failed due to drought, disease, or pests.
So greater stability, but also greater vulnerability. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And with larger settlements came new challenges: sanitation, disease control, and social organization. Remember, these were unprecedented times. Humans were essentially figuring out how to live in large, complex societies for the first time. It wasn't always pretty.
So more food, but also more problems. I'm starting to see where you're going with this.
And here's where it gets even more complex. With the rise of agriculture came the concept of surplus. Having more food than immediately needed.
Right.
This surplus led to specialization of labor. Not everyone had to be involved in food production anymore. Some could become artisans, craftspeople, or even merchants, trading their goods and services for food.
Which is essentially the foundation of an economy.
Exactly, but it also created social hierarchies. Those who controlled the surplus, often religious or political leaders, they gained more power and influence. This led to social stratification, with some groups having more wealth, status, and power than others.
So the Neolithic Revolution, good for innovation? Maybe not. Maybe not so great for equality. Bit of a double-edged sword.
It's a complicated legacy for sure. On the one hand, it paved the way for the development of art, culture, technology, and everything we associate with civilization. On the other hand, it also introduced new forms of inequality, conflict, and environmental degradation. It's important to remember that progress isn't always a straight line. There are often unforeseen consequences to even the most positive changes.
It makes you appreciate the complexities of history. It's not always a simple narrative of progress.
And this complexity is precisely what makes studying early human history so fascinating. But let me ask you this. Knowing what we know now about the downsides of settled life, why didn't humans just go back to hunting and gathering? Why stick with this whole farming thing if it came with so many problems?
That's a great question. It seems like it would have been easy to just go back to the old ways.
It's tempting to think so, but remember, humans are remarkably adaptable. By the time these challenges became apparent, societies had already undergone significant transformations. Going back to a purely nomadic lifestyle would have been incredibly difficult, if not impossible.
It's like that old saying, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah.
Once those innovations were out there was no going back.
Precisely. And keep in mind that not everyone experienced the downsides of settled life equally.
Right.
For some, particularly those in positions of power, the benefits likely outweighed the drawbacks.
I imagine.
As with any major societal shift, there were winners and losers.
Fascinating. It makes you wonder, are we still grappling with the consequences of the Neolithic Revolution today? I mean, it happened thousands of years ago.
Absolutely. Many of the challenges we face today, climate change, social inequality, the struggle to balance, technological advancement with sustainability, these are all in many ways echoes of the decisions made by those early farmers thousands of years ago.
That's a pretty sobering thought. It really puts things into perspective. But before we spiral into an existential crisis, let's zoom back in on innovation. You mentioned that the Neolithic Revolution sparked a wave of new technologies and ideas. What were some of the most significant developments during this period?
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in, the physical innovations like the tools, the farming techniques, all of that. But you've hit on a really important point there. Some of the most impactful innovations from this period, while they were social, organizational, they were figuring out how to live together in larger groups than ever before.
It's like they invented agriculture, but then they had to invent, how to actually be a society.
Right, exactly. Take the concept of law and governance, for example. Early civilizations needed systems to resolve disputes, maintain order, protect their citizens from each other and outsiders too, right?
Makes sense. You can't have everyone just, making up their own rules.
Right, exactly. The Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest known sets of written laws, is a prime example of that. It established a system of justice that helped to regulate society in ancient Babylon.
Yeah, I've heard of Hammurabi's code, but honestly, I thought it was just about an eye for an eye, that kind of thing.
Well, it was pretty harsh by today's standards for sure, but that's not all it was. It covered property rights, family law, even business dealings. Its goal was to create this common set of expectations for how people interacted with each other.
So this was way more than just punishing criminals. They were building a framework for how their whole society worked.
Exactly, and it wasn't just about establishing laws either. These early civilizations also developed sophisticated systems of governance.
Yeah.
From the city-states of Mesopotamia to the pharaohs of Egypt. Think about it. They built infrastructure, managed resources, and they even developed early forms of diplomacy and trade networks, all without the things we take for granted today.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to think about the level of organization and cooperation required to achieve all this. I mean, they were building empires without the benefit of modern technology, or communication system. It makes you realize that humans have had this capacity for large-scale cooperation.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
It's a testament to human adaptability and ingenuity, and it reminds us that innovation, well, it isn't just about inventing these new gadgets and things. It's about finding those creative solutions to the challenges that we face, both as individuals and as societies. Right? Sometimes the biggest innovations aren't about the what, but the how. How we organize ourselves, how we communicate, how we solve those problems together.
So from mastering fire to building cities and establishing those systems of governance, innovation has really been the driving force behind human progress from the very beginning.
Yeah. And as we continue to face these new challenges in the 21st century, right? Climate change, social inequality, artificial intelligence, understanding that long history of human innovation, well, it can provide valuable insights and inspiration. I think it's a reminder that we've overcome these immense challenges in the past, and with ingenuity, collaboration, and a healthy dose of learning from those who came before us, well, we can overcome the challenges of the present and shape a better future.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah.
From those early hominids to the first cities. What stands out to you as the most significant takeaway from our exploration of early human history?
For me, it's the reminder that we've been asking the same fundamental questions for millennia. How do we live together? What is fair, and who gets to decide? What does it even mean to be human? In all our complexity, these early societies they grappled with these very questions.
Yeah.
And their innovations, both successful and not, can teach us a lot about our own responses today.
That's a great point. It's easy to look at the past as this simpler time, They were dealing with their own versions of a lot of the same issues that we still face. What about you? What's your biggest takeaway?
I think mine is how interconnected everything is. Innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's driven by need, by collaboration, by the failures of what came before, and then those innovations, well, they ripple outwards.
Yeah,
changing societies, environments, even how we think. It's a chain reaction that's still going on today.
It really makes you think, what innovations happening right now under our noses will be shaping the course of human history thousands of years from now, right? And what will those future humans think of the choices that we're making today? That's something to ponder.
It certainly is. We've barely scratched the surface of this fascinating topic. For our listeners, if you're eager to learn more, we'll include links in the show notes to some great resources. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.